Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Erik Voss, and this is a breakdown of The Boys spinoff Gen V Episode 8, the season finale, Guardians of Godolkin. And this video is sponsored by Squarespace, the all-in-one platform that makes launching your own website a breeze. With the news that Gen V is getting a season 2, I can't wait to see where they go from here, because this season finale was bonkers. Let's break down this bloody episode, take a look at all the Easter eggs, details, the links to the larger Boys universe, and make some guesses about what's going on in that ending and what it could mean for next season. So we open on Dean Shetty lying dead on the floor, and everyone's freaking out. Without her meds, Kate's powers keep growing, and she can hear everyone's panicked thoughts. They're all jumbled together, and you can distinctly hear Marie wondering why no one helps Shetty, Emma panicking about the fact that they all killed someone, Sam repeating, "She butchered us," and Jordan just thinking that Kate is crazy. The thoughts swell to a cacophony, and there's this high-pitched ringing and what sounds like a heart beating, and then Kate closes her eyes and seemingly shuts it all out.
Why didn't you let me save her?
What am I going to have?
What did you do?
She was evil.
So it seems like this whole thing wasn't a projection that Kate was making the others see, and Shetty is actually dead. Her crusade to get revenge on the Supes for the death of her daughter and her husband had the unintended consequence of radicalizing Kate and also Sam, who definitely thinks that Shetty got what she deserved. Kate tries to rationalize what just happened by saying that she did this for all of them, and then ominously adds that when she's done, they'll realize that she's being a hero. She wants to free everyone in the woods, and Sam is 1000% on board. The others not so much. Jordan, who switches from the male persona to the female persona at some point during this exchange, looks like they are going to intervene, but doesn't ultimately.
You can beat me, but do you really think you can beat him?
Remember, Jordan was the one who took on Luke after he killed Brink, but Sam is more powerful than Luke was, which is why Brink and Shetty were trying to use Sam's blood to amp up Luke's powers. So Kate is probably right that Jordan can't take on Sam in a one-on-one fight. Like, we've seen that dude rip guys in half. It would have been fun to see Jordan a puppet though. As he sizes them up, Sam flares his nostrils like a bolt. Also notice the little "don't do it" head shake that Marie gives Jordan, because the two are always looking out for one another. The remaining three each want to handle this in different ways. Jordan wants to call the campus security emergency line to give them a heads up, but Emma doesn't want to do anything that will get Sam caught. Marie wants to stop this on their own because she doesn't trust Vought or Godolkin. Everyone in Gen V has their own idea of what a hero is and how to be one, something that will come up several times in this episode. Andre is still with his dad in Vought Tower after his seizure last episode, and the doctor tells him what they found on the MRI. Apparently, every time Polarity used his powers, it caused damage in his brain that cannot be reversed. It's just really interesting to see the long-term effects of using powers, which is something that doesn't come up much in other superhero properties, except for maybe like 2017's Logan, a movie that really just had the mission of how bleak can we make this? But we have seen this a couple times in the Boys Gen V universe. When Kate uses her powers, it's assumed that she's causing damage, as evidenced by the popped blood vessels in her eyes, and when Butcher used Temp V, he developed brain tumors. There was also A-Train's heart issues because of his Compound V addiction, but this is really the first time that we have a doctor confirming that a Supe using their powers caused a medical emergency. The larger question of whether everyone who is given Compound V at any point in their lives might have negative physical repercussions is just really cool. And it's one that I hope they go into further in either of these series. It goes beyond just the ethical issues around people having powers. As Andre talks to the doctor, there's artwork on the wall, one piece that kind of looks like a hole in the center of shattered glass, another that looks like a spiral. Maybe these represent Andre's worldview shattering and its subsequent spiraling. The doctor asks Andre if he's experienced any lightheadedness or spots in his vision or uncontrollable tics in the ring or pinky finger, and Andre responds,
"But doesn't everybody get lightheaded sometimes? Can we focus on my dad?
I love that his face twitches in this moment. Later on, when he's using his powers, we actually see his ring and pinky fingers twitch. There is a ticking clock on this kid before he ends up like his dad if he keeps using his powers, and we are already seeing the effects. Andre talks to his dad, and given what happened in the ambulance last episode, I'm surprised they didn't remove all metal objects from this room, like when Magneto was imprisoned in X-Men. Andre barely gets a sentence out before his dad launches into it.
Go through my phone. The contacts for Heather are in there.
Heather PR or wardrobe?
Wardrobe.
Polarity's immediate concern isn't his health, it's getting his superhero costume resized to fit Andre. I love that Vought has two Heathers, just like it has two Ashleys, both just kind of those popular mean girl names from the 80s movies. Polarity apologizes to Andre and confirms that he did know about the woods, but he played along to protect him. He says that school is done now, it's time for Andre to step up, and that he should, quote, do whatever they tell you. This is similar to Victoria Newman telling Marie that she had two paths to get ahead, play by Vought's rules, or keep causing trouble and digging things up trying to be a real hero. I have to assume that Polarity doesn't know that Andre might be in danger if he keeps using his powers, because if he does know, woof. He also says this:
Your family's counting on you.
Jeez, man, laying that parental pressure on thick. Okay, so a lot of people online have been wondering how Ryan, Homelander's son, can be the first natural born Supe if Andre and Maverick, Translucent's son, exist. So I want to address that here. While the shows haven't explicitly stated this, I believe that Andre and Maverick were born as non-powered humans to their parents. Remember, Homelander stated that he thought he couldn't have children, but no one ever said that no Supe can have kids. Like we've seen many that do, Victoria Newman, Mesmer, Stormfront, to name a few. So I think that Polarity and Translucent gave their sons Compound V as babies, and they ended up having similar powers as their dads because of the genetic similarities that already existed in their blood. Knowing Vought, the company probably even encouraged Supes to have their kids dosed with Compound V because it's good for their brand if America sees a family of Supes. So no, I do not think that Andre and Maverick were born as Supes, like from the moment of conception, which would mean that Ryan is the first natural born, naturally conceived Supe, unless there's one out there that we haven't seen yet. Ashley and the board are on campus and in crisis mode.
I'm missing a farm-to-table fest at Ina and Jeffrey's to be at this board meeting, but someone has to save this place.
Ina Garten is a cook who hosts a Food Network show, The Barefoot Contessa, and Jeffrey is her husband, who she talks about a lot on the show. To distract from all the negative PR that the school has been getting lately, Ashley wants to send a student straight to the 7, which currently has 4 open slots. Since the only ones remaining are Homelander, The Deep, and A-Train, they discuss their options, starting with Andre, who has a headshot and a resume like actors do, although it seems like this one was put together for him by the board. His resume says powers, magnetic telepathy, GPA 3.3, which Ashley calls f***ing terrible, and then IQ 120, which she thinks is surprisingly good, height 5'10", weight 185 pounds, pedigree son of Polarity and Layla Anderson, followed by Polarity is a known entity, Layla runs their brand. I don't think we've seen Layla at all yet. It's a little weird that she wasn't at the hospital with Polarity, but maybe this is just one of those celebrity marriages that's just for show or something. Under stats, it says optics rating A, max bench 350 pounds, magnetic weight limit 12 tons, followed by some writing that ends with could be higher. I'm assuming that the magnetic weight limit is how much he can move by using his magnetic powers. 12 tons is 24,000 pounds, or the equivalent of a school bus or 2 elephants. The helicopter he stops from crashing later on is within that weight range, although since it's falling, that would add some extra difficulty, hence why he is struggling in that moment. We see additional skills, British accent, which is sort of an inside joke because Chance Perdomo, the actor who plays Andre, is an American-born British actor with dual citizenship. I also love how, just like real actors, Supes pad out their resumes with stupid stuff like this. He's listed as having 21.1 million Instagram followers, which isn't as many as Jenna Ortega, but is more than Chance Perdomo has in real life. We see sponsorship opportunities, sports, technology, men's products, and then risks, was friends with Golden Boy, influence unknown, relationship with father reportedly rocky, may act out in the short term as a way to rebel against the brand, has disappeared from events in the past, would need to be closely monitored until he's under control, and then finally something that ends with a handler until he gets his footing. That reference about him disappearing from events goes back to episode 2 when he bailed on his interview with Haley Miller. Vought knows almost everything about these kids down to predicting potential behavior. The very white board member isn't sold on Andre.
His on-screen skin color test read a bit dark.
They'll get Annie Leibovitz to shoot him, you racist shit.
Annie Leibovitz has been criticized in the past for not knowing how to properly photograph people of color, and specifically black women like Simone Biles and Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, so it's kind of funny that that's who Ashley went with. Kate and Sam go back to the woods. The first time Sam has been back here since he escaped.
Kate? I haven't seen you down here in a while.
Greg?
I'm Bob.
This continues the ongoing bit of everyone getting these 2 guards mixed up.
Bob?
I'm Greg.
It's similar to a running thing on Lost with 2 castaways named Scott and Steve that everyone got confused, or kind of like in Aliens where Hicks and Hudson were mixed up, or in Harry Potter where George and Fred often mixed up, but they were literal twins. But Greg was the guard that Sam killed in episode 4, whose jumpsuit he stole and was wearing when he and Emma were both at the drive-in, so now Sam has taken out both Greg and Bob. RIP to both of you. But, not really, because you did torture children. This guard recognizes Kate from when she was down there helping Shetty and Brink with Luke during his blood transfusions. It's interesting that Shetty didn't have Kate wipe the guard's memories, but I guess they know what they signed up for, and in for a penny, in for a pound with these torturers. Sam punches through Bob's face and then tears his eyes out and squishes them, which we do not see in puppet vision, but horrible, horrible reality. I think this indicates that Sam is becoming more okay with committing violent acts, since I believe he switched to puppet vision to protect himself anytime he was doing something terrible that he couldn't properly process. Kate orders the next guard to unlock the cells, and this whole scene is reminiscent of season 2 of The Boys when all the Supe patients in Sage Grove Psychiatric pediatric facility were all let out of their cells and run amok. We see this one patient crouched down in the shadows with glowing eyes, which looks terrifying. It reminds me of the first time we see the creatures in The Descent. Also the first time we see Gollum in Fellowship of the Ring, when he was just this shadowy silhouette crouching down over the ring with glowing eyes. We also see this Supe with Nightcrawler-esque teleportation powers disappearing and then reappearing in his cell. Kate releases this very sweaty Supe.
When's the last time you saw sunlight?
Is Gangnam Style still a thing?
Yes, Gangnam Style was released in 2012, and this guy looks about 20 years old, so he would have been around 9 years old when he was locked up. Also, the music video for Gangnam Style currently has 4.9 billion views, which is insane. Now, at first, I thought maybe the Supe was so sweaty because he was infected with the virus, but later on, we see that he has the ability to melt things with his hands. Still, I have to wonder if any of them who came into contact with Andy when he was infected might have the virus. At that point, it was still spread by contact with bodily fluids, and it would be interesting to see this plot carry on to season 2 if there's an escaped infected Supe out there walking around. On his way out, Sam stops by his old cell and hallucinates Luke, who tries to talk him out of what he's doing. It's interesting that Luke isn't a puppet when he sees him. It makes me wonder if this is something more than just his usual episodes, like maybe because of the repeated blood transfusions and the experiments, part of Luke's consciousness actually exists in Sam's brain now. It could explain why Luke kept having visions of young Sam. Kate gives her army of escapees a rallying speech.
You are superior to them, and it's time we showed it.
This is similar to stuff Stormfront and Homelander have said in the past, and it's quite the turn for Kate. Up until now, she rationalized everything she was doing, like wiping Luke's memory, making the others forget, as being for her friends to keep them safe. But now she seems to genuinely think that all non-powered people deserve to be wiped out because of the actions of a select few. Kate tells the guard to eat his own hands, and somehow the fact that he does it with his gloves still on makes it worse. Rufus tries unsuccessfully to film himself lip-syncing to Desperado by Rihanna. There were a few different TikTok trends using this song for a while. The sweaty guy from the woods interrupts him to ask if he's a Supe, and Rufus answers in his usual dickish way.
No shit, asshole.
Then Sweaty asks this woman the same thing, and she's very polite, so naturally she's the one he kills. The poor woman says she's an adjunct professor. She's not even full-time, but she gets her face melted despite not having tenure. The students immediately take out their phones to live stream what's happening because that's how Gen Z processes everything. God U's social media advisor Jeff walks in front of this mural, which looks very much like the mishmash of all the San Diego Comic-Con posters ever. Then he reveals that he's a mole for Vought. I assume put on campus keep an eye on things and report back. As one of the escaped Supes rushes at him, he uses a sonar weapon device to incapacitate her. It's similar to the ones that the guards in the woods used, but includes a dial to really control the frequency. The one we saw the guard use previously just had an on-off button. He puts a silver disc in her mouth and cranks the device, making her head explode, and then he phones Ashley 2 to tell her his cover is blown and their rehab might be unlocked. Before he can get any more out, Kate pushes him and forces him to use a disc to pop his own head while live streaming it. A campus security guard uses her walkie to notify everyone of the escaped meth heads, which is how they referred to Sam in episode 1 when he'd escaped the woods. So I'm guessing that meth head is code for crazy pissed off Supes who want us all dead and can rip out our spines. Big holiday feasts aren't just about what's on the table, they're about the whole experience. The company, the decorations, the vibe, for lack of a better word. Running an online business is similar. Offering a quality product isn't enough, you want to make sure things are just right, and for that, there's Squarespace. Squarespace is an all-in-one platform that provides you with everything you need to do whatever you need with your website. Squarespace has templates and designs for pretty much everything. So even if you're making your very first website, using Squarespace makes it super easy to customize your look, update content, and add features to fit your unique needs. For instance, Squarespace makes it easy to sell merch. You can design your products, then save time and money by letting Squarespace handle production, inventory, and shipping. And if you're selling any other kind of physical goods, digital goods, or even a service, Squarespace makes it easy to build your storefront and grow your business. To check it out for yourself, head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/newrockstars to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. In Adam Bork's acting class, a student does a truly awful monologue from Dawn of the Seven, pandering to Bork, who wrote and directed the film.
If this is going to be the dawn of the Seven, we have to first get through dusk.
Bork loves it, his ego sufficiently stroked, and he even gives the student a standing ovation slow clap. Bork's wearing a Finny pizza hat, and that is a pizza chain in New York City. His class lecture is interrupted by Sam's entrance.
Okay, remember when I talked about stage presence, everybody? That is not it.
Yeah, honestly, I'd choke this guy out too, just for bad-mouthing national treasure Josh Hartnett. Go rewatch his episodes of Drunk History and tell me that man has no stage presence. He blew me away in Oppenheimer. That guy's got talent. Emma stops Sam from killing Bork, and then we get one of the most heartbreaking scenes of the season. Sam is big mad at everyone and everything, recalling his time in the woods, being tortured, and he's taking it out on Emma, even as she reminds him that she risked everything for him.
Emma, you would do anything for everyone to like you. You're not a hero.
You don't mean that.
I feel so bad for Emma in this moment, and honestly, while I understand that Sam is dealing with a lot, I'm not sure I buy how abrupt his turn is about his feelings for Emma, especially since it was only a couple episodes ago that he told her this.
I'm gonna make you remember
Remember what?
that you're a hero.
Yeah, I still feel like there might be something more going on here with his about face, like either he's being controlled or made to feel abused or something, but maybe this is just wishful thinking because I want Emma to be treated better by the guy she just made sweet puppet love to. As Emma cries, we get this cool effect shot where she's shrinking and the background is blurred, and then we see her standing there in giant t-shirt and shoes, so this must be a new element to her powers, like a sort of leveling up, because obviously she's had to have cried before in her life, but she's surprised that this made her shrink, which means that this is the first time it happened. So maybe the power isn't purging, it's feeling a deeper depth of despair where you no longer want to exist anymore. I just love that this whole scene, start to finish, of Sam and Emma's raw feelings works in direct juxtaposition to the fake drama and emotion of the crappy acting scene that just came before it. Sam has another conversation with imaginary Luke, who acts like the angel on Sam's shoulder to Kate's devil.
Right now, be a hero. Stop Kate.
But he chooses instead to let Kate push him to feel nothing and continues on with his rampage around campus. As the rogue Supes take out pretty much anyone who doesn't have powers, Marie makes it to Shetty's office to hit the panic button, which was actually visible in episode 7 when Marie and Jordan were hiding under the desk. And we finally get our code red. The dorm room bars slam shut, locking everyone in, and there's another sonic weapon blast deployed. Remember, Supes have better hearing than non-powered people, so they use sonic whistle to subdue them. Bork pounds on the door of the room where Ashley and the board members are. We saw these two hooking up in the bathroom at the Dawn of the Seven premiere at season 3 of The Boys, so this has happened at least twice. Another Supe with Banshee-like powers shouts and takes out the sonic whistle, and Ashley tells Ashley 2 to find Homelander, so this confirms that despite being potentially put on trial for lasering a dude to death, Homelander is still employed by Vought and will still do what they ask. Ashley calls Marie and says that if she takes down the rogue Supes, it means automatic entry into the Seven, an offer that the board is making to everyone, and Ashley switches from her panicked voice to her CEO voice.
Marie Moreau, Ashley Barrett. Vought, we are considering you for the Seven. Congratulations, we're so excited.
She also sweetens the deal by saying she will get her in a meeting with her sister, and Marie's heroism path and her Vought-controlled path are actually in alignment. I'm guessing that Marie's sister is going to play a bigger role in season 2. I'm interested to see where she ended up after the parents' death, and if she has powers as well. It was never mentioned whether both of them were injected with Compound V as baby, or just Marie. All the phones cut out, and the Wi-Fi goes down, causing wannabe influencers Justine and Harper to freak out, even more than when the code red locked them in the room. Kate touches a Supe who can fly and makes him take down the helicopter that's there to rescue Ashley and the board, and Andre chooses to use his powers even though he knows it can make his brain mush. He chooses to be a hero, and Marie is right there with him.
Guardians of Godolkin. We do this together. Am I right?
Let's go.
Andre was one of the original Guardians of Godolkin, but he shirked his responsibilities. Just like the board's resume said about him, he acted out in the short term as a way to rebel against the Polarity brand, but now he's taking what his father told him seriously and he's stepping up. The medication that Shetty was giving Kate has worn off, allowing her to level up her powers, but all that pushing is still taking a toll. Both her eyes are almost completely red because of the burst blood vessels, making her look particularly villainy. I wonder if the meds were helping Kate in some way. Even though they were dampening her powers, maybe they were also protecting her from doing too much physical damage to herself at once. Even though Marie tells Kate that she has no intention of killing her, like Vought once, Kate still pushes Maverick to stop her, and he takes off his hat and glasses to go full on invisible. Andre runs after Kate with these weird bounding leaps, and I guess his superpower is not to look cool during a chase. Marie stays behind to fight Maverick, which is hard because, as the tagline of his dad's movie says, you can't kill what you can't see. In The Boys, Butcher and Huey had to fight Translucent while he was invisible, and the only way Butcher was able to win was because he spit his own blood on Translucent and was able to see where he was. Here we get a variation on that. Marie has been learning and honing her powers all season, and now she uses what Newman taught her to first hear Maverick's heart pumping and the blood sloshing around, and then see where he is. She knocks him out with a handy piece of wreckage, and he materializes. Both he and his dad were defeated by blood, albeit in different ways. We see a slightly younger Maverick on The Boys during his dad's funeral, but this doesn't look like the same actor. He's clearly not dead, just unconscious, and I'm sure his girlfriend, the alpaca Supe Sloan, will be happy to nurse him back to health later. Also again, what is Sloane's deal? Writers, you better have more Sloane in season 2. Jordan saves Ashley and the board from a Supe. Really, they should be considering all of our regulars for the 7 right now because they owe them. Andre appeals to Kate to stop this, the way he did when they were trapped in her mind, but notice how he keeps his distance. He doesn't trust her not to use her powers on him. Kate seems to give in and reaches out to take his hand, but he doesn't bite. He's not sure if she's being sincere, and honestly, neither am I at this point. I think she's gone too far to stop now, and if he'd taken her hand, she'd have pushed him to join her crusade. He gets a hard body check from Sam, who then does a stereotypical superhero jump and ground punch landing. The fact that Kate doesn't do anything as Sam wails on Andre makes me think he was right not to trust her. Andre uses his powers to pull a dead guard's shock stick toward him, and this is where you can see his fingers twitching ominously. He shocks Sam, and they both collapse. Marie tells Kate that she originally wanted to be a hero so that her sister could be proud of her, but now she just wants to be a good person. And Kate says that she's not a person to them, just a product. And again, I know she's on a murderous rampage to kill a bunch of people, but she's not wrong. Vought created Supes, monitors them, and controls what they do because that's what's important to their bottom line. Also, don't think too hard about how this is an anti-capitalist, anti-mega corporation show. That's a product of Amazon. Some rogue Supes go after Jordan, so of course, Marie swoops in for the rescue, again, proving that in the class superlatives department, she'd get most improved. She uses her powers to give this one-eye laser Supe a heart attack. Jordan takes out the sweaty Supe, and as the teleporting Supe goes after the board of the helicopter, we get this moment, one of my favorites from the entire series. This moment is so great that Bork says he's putting in his next movie, and I hope we get to see that movie down the line. Marie tells Jordan,
See, we're good together.
echoing what Andre just told Kate moments before.
Kate, whenever either one of us does something on our own, she gets screwed up big time. But I know we do some amazing shit together.
Yeah, even though they have incredible powers, really, they're still just teenagers trying to figure this all out and make a connection to people they love. As Jordan walks Marie, Kate reaches out for them, and Marie inadvertently makes her arm explode the way she did Rufus's penis. As Kate screams, we hear sonic boom, and we get the cameo I suspected was coming, Homelander. He sets down right in front of a statue, his superhero music playing triumphantly before distorting and petering out, indicating that there's maybe something wrong with this rescue. All chaos on campus comes to a stop like he's their disapproving father catching them in the middle of a rager. And just like a dad who's not mad, just disappointed, he does his signature finger waggle. We've seen him do this before many times. He has a very emotive finger. If Marie thought that he was there to rescue her and the others trying to protect the school from the rogue Supes, though she was sorely mistaken. In episode 7, when Jordan was causing a diversion so Marie could talk to Newman, Harper filmed Jordan punching Justine and said Jordan Lee attacking her own kind. So obviously it's a big deal to some Supes when one uses powers against other powered people. Homelander calls for everyone to stay back as Marie looks on confused, and then he blasts her with his laser eyes and everything goes black. Then there's a news broadcast from Cameron Coleman painting Emma, Marie, and Andre and Jordan as the instigators of the rampage that killed 12 people, and painting Kate and Sam as the protectors, the new Guardians of Godolkin. Homelander watches, this creepy smile playing on his face. Knowing him, he's probably pissed that he wasn't given sole credit for saving the day, but it's also possible that he's the one who wanted it this way. Like he wants to look like the leader of a movement. We've seen him in the past be very particular about who is led into the 7. He's definitely on brand for him and Vought to prefer 2 white kids to the diverse group with powers that, as Brink put it back in episode 1, don't play well in the Rust Belt states. Marie wakes up in a hospital bed in this white room with Jordan, Emma, and Andre. Andre tells Marie that she took a blast like a champ and anyone else would be in the ground. But also, I've got to assume that Homelander didn't hit her with the full blast power and that Ashley or the board made it clear that he shouldn't kill any of them, or he's keeping them alive for some other purpose, or maybe Marie's just really powerful. Marie realizes this room has no doors, but we do see a hatch on the ceiling, and we get an appropriate Charlie from Lost line.
Where are we?
And we end on the Muffs, Kids in America, playing over the credits. But there's one surprise cameo in the post-credit scene, Billy Butcher in the woods, now cleared out and abandoned, confirming my suspicion last episode that he was the one that Grace Mallory was talking to on the phone. So I think in season 2, we'll see Vought taking full control of Godolkin, since we know how much corporations love a rebrand and claiming that what happened was an isolated incident, but everything is safe now. They'll use the school as a Supe pipeline into their brands and movies and commercials, and they'll cut a deal with Marie and Jordan, Andre, and Emma that if they play ball and do what they say, they'll shift the narrative in their favor. And each of them will once again be faced with the question of whether they want to be a hero or a Vought puppet. I do find it interesting that the room holding the Gen V crew right now has the same horizontal lines toward the top of the room that we saw in the cell at Vought Tower that held Maeve. It's probably some bottom level bunker of the tower designed to hold dangerous Supes. I want to know from you, what did you think of Gen V? How did Marie survive that blast? And like Marie asked, where are they? Let us know your theories in the comments. Subscribe to New Rockstars, the deep dive in the break room. Support us by grabbing some merch at nerdriot.shop. Big thanks to Gina, Ippolito, and Brandon Barrick for the help writing this breakdown. Follow me at Erik Voss, follow New Rockstars. Subscribe to New Rockstars for more analysis of everything you love. Thanks for watching. Bye.